Hi everyone, Luis Souza here. In this video, I will show you how you can use AI and automations to basically help you clean and organize your inbox by just using AI to read the content of the emails and then automatically label them depending on the content. And it's super easy to build, and you're going to be building it together in this video, and then you'll see that your email going to look, of course, something like this, where you're going to start basically labeling your emails according to the content and according to your instructions. So what we're going to be building today, it's something like this. So you need a make.com account. I will leave the links here below this video as well. And you're going to need it can be ChatGPT, an OpenAI account, it can be Claude, it can be whatever model you want to use. In this particular video, we're going to be using ChatGPT to build this. And basically what this is going to be doing is going to be looking at all the emails that are landing in our inbox, going to use AI to read the entire content, and then basically going to label them depending on the content of the email. By the way, if you don't want to build any like this yourself, you can literally just come here to these three dots and click here import blueprint, and then basically just upload this blueprint, this JSON file, and automatically this will populate the entire automation for you. The only thing you need to do next is to just add your own account instead of mine. To get this file, we'll leave instructions below on how you can access our community to get access to this file. So let's go to the video, let's go to the tutorial. The first thing we're going to be doing here is we're going to be using watch email scenario module that's going to be checking our emails at a certain interval. So you can come here and you can add, you see there is a scenario, an app called Gmail. If you're using emails, you can also use Outlook and other email providers. And there is this trigger here, as you can see, which is called watch emails. Okay, and then in here you're going to connect to your account, and then you're going to choose the folder where the emails are going. In this particular example, you can see that I'm just saying check all emails, but maybe you want to use these on a specific folder you have on your Gmail or on your email provider. In this particular case, I'm just going to select I want to check all emails. I'm going to use a simple filter, and basically in here the criteria could be, do you want this automation to check all your emails, only the emails that you already read, or only unread emails? And you can choose, usually people use the unread emails, so the automation first labels them, and then you can go and check the new emails. Up to you. You can also use all emails if you want to use this automation to label past emails as well. So in this particular case, I'm going to leave all emails, but you can just put only unread emails if you just want this to work on new emails coming to your inbox. Okay, and then here you can say if you want to leave the email as read or not. Up to you as well. If you want to label it and mark it as read, you can just put yes. If not, just put it no. It will label the email but will stay as unread. And then here, this is really important, is how many emails do you want this automation to read every time it triggers. And so here is a suggestion. It depends on how often you want to trigger this automation. If you want to trigger this automation, let's say every 15 minutes, you can put maybe 1, 2, 3, depending again on the volume of emails you receive. If you want to run this, let's say once a day, maybe you need to put 50, 100 or 200, because it depends on the volume of emails you received a day, because this automation is only going to run once a day. If you run this like once a week, you probably need to put a higher number. Again, this depends on how many emails you receive a day or an hour, and it will depend on the frequency you want to read. My recommendation is that you run this, let's say, once a day every morning, and then just see how many emails you roughly receive a day, and then just put a little higher than like the number here. If you put a number lower than the number of emails you receive, the only thing that's going to happen is some of your emails not going to get labeled. But anyway, I'll leave 5 here just for the sake of this tutorial, but just have that in mind. Okay, and then we're going to save it, and then we have this first module. Now, the second module is to connect OpenAI, so use AI to read the email and then label or give us the label recommendation for the email. If you don't have an account yet, you need to go, you can use Claude, you can use DeepSeek, you can use Perplexity. In this particular case, I'm using OpenAI, so ChatGPT. You need to go to platform.openai.com, okay? And you need to basically add credits. You can add like $5 is more than enough for you to test and to use a lot of it, because then after this, we're gonna go here on the left to where it says API keys. Here you see on the left, and then we're gonna get an API key that you're gonna use to connect to your email, to your make scenario over here. So if I click here, okay, so here on the OpenAI module, you can literally just click add a connection here, and you're gonna ask you for the API key that you need to go to the OpenAI platform and get that API key, and then just connect your account. And then in here, we're gonna have create a chat completion, okay? I'll show you just for the sake, when you add a module here, you have tons of different options in here. In this particular case, we're gonna use this one, create a completion, okay? Which is this one. And then basically we're gonna connect OpenAI in here. In terms of the module, it's up to you. Right now, there is the ChatGPT O Mini. It's the cheapest model that they have, and it's quite good just for labeling. If you don't think that the output or the labeling is that good or correct, you can try O3 Mini or O1. They will be more expensive, but again, it's still pretty cheap when we're talking a few emails a day. Of course, if you receive hundreds of emails a day, of course you need to have the price in consideration. But for a lot of people looking and looking at this video, it will be more than enough. You can use the O3 Mini, you can use O1, like you can use the latest one, which is O3 Mini. And again, the model is better than the 4.0. So just check and test the output and see if the output is correct, if it's labeling correctly. If not, try to change the model. If you don't like it, try to add Claude or DeepSeek and just check the output. Okay, in this particular case, I'm going to use ChatGPT 4.0 Mini. So then we're going to go to the messages, right? The actual input to the model. In this particular case, you always need at least a user. So at least one of the roles needs to be the user, which is the input that you are providing. This will be the dynamic input we are providing to the model. I like to split them, especially when the input starts getting quite big, where I just tell them like the role and the task in one, and then I give the instructions in another one with the assistant role. I just feel it's easier for me to organize my thoughts, where I give instructions in the assistant and then I actually give the task and the dynamic input in the user. You don't need to do this. You can have the entire prompt, and I'll leave the prompt below this video, but you can have the entire prompt in just one box over here, and you can literally just use like the role user, okay? In this particular case, you're saying that I'm saying act like an experienced professional assistant. I want you to read the email content and categorize the email with the most appropriate label. And then here is the email content, and here we're gonna select, if I click here, we're gonna go to the module before, and we're going to be checking here the text content, right? The content of the email, and we're going to click in here, and they're going to give us the content of the email. Then I have another message, which is the instructions, right? What are the labels? And in here, this is the really important part, right? This is where you give clear instructions to ChatGPT or to the AI on what kind of labels you have and what are the instructions and what it should have in consideration when adding the labels. And here you can see that I'm just saying choose one of the following labels accordingly to the content of the email, and I say add the client label if the email comes from X and Y. I can add here, what I do is I add the emails of my clients in here, so he knows when an email comes from one of these emails, just making sure that it is attributed as client. You can then have whatever you want, right? I add a newsletter, sales, opportunities. I even said if something comes from Stripe, just label as finance, and then you can even add everything else, okay? Here is up to you. The more detailed instructions you give, the better. You can even give examples of what an email is in each one of them. So be creative and be detailed. And then really, really important is that you say to the model give me only the final label, and you will see why in the next step. But it's really important that it doesn't give you anything else, it doesn't hallucinate. I just want the label, the name of the label, okay? And that's pretty much it. In here you can leave this like blank, because the empty means there is no limit to the model. This is just if you want to limit the amount of tokens that are used, you can limit. But if you leave empty, it will just use the tokens it needs to, you know, to do the instructions up to the limit of the model. Okay, so now we have the AI reading the emails, and now the third step is what we call an iterator. What is this for? This is basically when we run this, ChatGPT will run, like imagine we are reading 5. If you just are doing one email, you don't need this. But imagine you are running 5 emails, right? ChatGPT is going to give you 5 outputs, right? 5 different labels, let's say, 5 different outputs. But then, if you don't use this, it will only get the first one, and it will move the first one like forward. So you only going to get like always one email being labeled. So the why we use this is called an iterator, and you can click here, add flow control, and then you can just look for iterator as this one here. Okay, this is what's going to get is going to get all the output from ChatGPT, and you're going to create different, let's say, lines, different bundles of that information. So each answer, so each label for each email going to be a separate output. Okay, and this will be really important, because then the automation is going to read each one of them individually. Okay, and you can see that it's really simple. What I'm just saying is I go here and I go to choices, message, and the content. You see here content. This is the output from ChatGPT. You can see that he only has here one, which is called newsletter, but this runs 2, 3, 4 depending on the amount of emails that is running. What I'm saying is I want each reply from ChatGPT separately, and then you save it. And then it's really simple. Then what you're going to do is you're going to use a router depending on the amount of labels you have on your Gmail, on your inbox. So in here is really simple. I'm just saying, hey, I just want to label my emails depending on the label from ChatGPT. So what I'm saying is, look, the first one, let's say that are newsletter that I receive. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a filter. So by the way, to add a router, just click add, let's go to flow control, and then click here where it says router. Okay, and you can add a router, and you can have as many variations as you want. The router is simply to say if this label go that way, if this label go that way, if this label go that way. And basically here you can see that the first one is what we call the newsletters, and what we are saying is if the value of the iterator, so of each individual output of ChatGPT, it's newsletters, go this way. Okay, we are saying in here, we are saying if the output of ChatGPT it's client, go this way. If it's everything else, goes this way. If it's finance, goes this way. And then if it's opportunities, goes this way. And we're just saying that, okay? We're just filtering each pass, because then the last one, the last model is the one we say, which is called modified email labels. So if I click here, add, and I go to Gmail, there is one action called modified email labels, which will be the kind of the action to add a label to the email. Okay, and you can see here, and you can see on this one, what I'm just saying is, it's the newsletters, so I'm just going to add a label called newsletters. Okay, and here is really easy. You just connect your Gmail, which should be already connected from the first step, and here on Gmail message ID, you just need to make sure you go here and you choose this one here, Gmail message ID, you see, and you add this one here, and then you choose the label that you want to add. Okay, same thing for all the other ones. So in this case clients will be the same thing. You can see same thing, I just add, you can even copy all of them one by one, but the label is not newsletters, is client. Okay, so if the output from ChatGPT says that is an email from a client, add the label client. Okay, so and then what you need to do is just have as many as labels you want. So if you want just 2 labels, just have 2 of them. If you want 20 labels, have 20 labels. Okay, so that's pretty much the entire automation. Now one thing that is really important, you need to create these labels on your Gmail before you do this, okay? So for that, if you go to settings on your Gmail and you click here, see all settings, you can literally just go to labels and create a new label. So you need to create a new label for the labels you want to use, because then those are the ones that are going to be appearing here. You can see that all the labels that are here are the ones that you are creating in your Gmail. So before you do the final step, make sure that on your Gmail you have the labels you want. Make sure that the name will be the same as in the filter, okay? And so the same as in the filter, but most important, the name from ChatGPT is the same, so they match, okay? So that's pretty much it, guys. This is the automation. It's really simple. You just watch the emails, use AI to read the content, and then use an iterator to making sure that if you run more than one email, you have every single email is an independent output, and then basically you just use filters. You have all the instructions below this video as well to get the file, the custom file, and also the instructions and the prompts. And I hope you like it, and I'll see you in the next video.